I'm Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom, and my guest is Michal Spiegelman, and we're going to talk about her book, Becoming Soulful: 6 Keys for Profound Transformation in Your Therapy, Coaching, or Healing Practice, scheduled to be released in the summer of 2024. Let me introduce you to Michal, and she's going to explain about herself. She's going to introduce herself.
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much, Robert. I'm a social worker in my background, and I'm a medical intuitive, a mentor, a certified life coach, really focused on trauma healing for the last, almost 30 years. But the next evolution of my work is, that I promote through my book, Becoming Soulful, is also to work with professionals, with people like therapists and people that are doing trauma work. I worked until now with women on empowerment, but really working with professionals. And, I think, Robert, where you and I really align is you're the Cowboy Wisdom, right? And you're all about wisdom and finding wisdom from within. And in my book, that's really the main thing, connecting to the soul, because wisdom lives in the soul, and our soul has the potential to be the perfect guide.
That was very beautifully said. And see, that is something I've discovered over the last, I'd say, 3 years immensely. We're flowing energy, and as soon as you put thinking in there, it stops that flow. There's something on your website. Her website's beaconsofchange.com. Beyond Talk Therapy, Holistic Approach to Trauma Healing. How is that in your book, and that tie into your book?
Yes, of course, because one of the messages that I hope to deliver through my book and my Soulful Healer method is that talk therapy is not enough. And I know that you know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I listen to you, and I know where you're coming from. I listen to your podcast, and talk therapy is not enough because trauma lives in the body. And one of the things you always talk about is how to not focus on yesterday, not focus on the past, but really focus on the moment. And my approach to trauma healing is, one, to recognize that trauma is stored in the body, and talk therapy will not be enough to heal the trauma. And number two, that healing the present is as important as healing the past. And when I help people heal trauma for many, many years, that's my expertise. That's what I love doing. And one of the things that I see sometimes with traditional therapists is that they spend most of their time, almost all of their time, helping the person leave the past and revisit the past, where actually the true healing of trauma needs to happen in the present moment. So I tell my clients before we start, it's two parallel journeys when I will help you clear what needs to be cleared from the past, heal what needs to be healed from the past, but I will also help you live fully, function at full power in the present moment. Does it make sense?
Totally, to me. But let me ask something. Do you think trauma is a subconscious mind, keeps the subconscious mind safe, so it don't have to get beyond the boundaries of it?
So ask it in a different way, so I'll understand better your question.
Okay. Trauma is something that they've used to keep themselves safe or get attention, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go back into trauma, does that trauma make the subconscious mind feel safe and in a comfort zone?
I think it really depends. If the trauma is addressed correctly, then the healing will happen also in the subconscious mind, and it will be a very deep healing. But when the trauma is not addressed correctly, when there is no addressing of what happens in the body and in the subconscious mind, then it will continue to live in the subconscious mind, right?
Yes, because my subconscious mind's right here. It's in the body. And see, do you feel most therapists they stay in the past because they're comfortable doing their therapy from the past rather than like you do in the present moment?
You know, I don't think it's because they feel comfortable. I think that what they learned in traditional and classical therapy, and all the psychological theories really emphasize, at least in the past, the importance of unpacking and opening the past, and it's something that they learned in schools. And there are many professionals that I meet that their soul guided them on learning mindfulness or learning some other techniques that are helping them to be in the present. But it's just that traditional school really emphasized so much on the past, and then maybe it became a comfort zone throughout the years. But I think one of my hopes with my book Becoming Soulful is that professionals will take a journey within, connecting with their soul, the wisdom of their soul, and they will use this wisdom to guide them on how to navigate the therapeutic process. So it's not only what they learned in school, but it's more like intuitively in the moment. What does your soul tell you now that your patient or your client needs?
That is very precise wisdom you just spoke, because wisdom is now. It's in the here and now. But when you said spoken from here, that makes it their natural talent coming up. Do you feel that?
Yeah, exactly. And when I talk about soul, I talk about the soul's purpose. The soul purpose is extension. The soul's purpose is learning, growing, and expanding. So if we talk about let's say we talk about the therapist and we talk about the client. So of course the client, once they're connected to their soul, they understand how their trauma or their pain or the crisis, whatever it is something that can lead them. It's a lesson. It's a lesson that their soul wants to learn and can lead them into an expansion of their lives. But when we look at the therapist, at the professional, a mental health counselor or social worker or therapist or healing professional, then when we look at it from their eyes, if they understand the value of expansion, within their soul, they will use the wisdom of their soul to help them expand into the best therapist or best professional they can be and offer a deep, really deep work for the clients.
People, if you're listening to what she said, she just liberated you from you. That's all. And it's a liberation that you're speaking. And when people open up to understand, everything they're trying to expand out of is inside them. And that's what Mikkel said.
Mikkel.
Mm-hmm. And also, the next one down, deepening therapy with inner and collective wisdom. Them two tie together quite well, don't they?
Yes, and many professionals, many therapists, they learn Jung's theory. Jung's, one of the first psychiatrists after Freud that believed in what he called the collective consciousness. And I like to talk about it as a collective wisdom. So there is wisdom that is not only within our soul, but there is a collective wisdom that unites or combines all humans, and also can be combined for specific communities. For example, I work a lot with feminine wisdom. So there is some ancient feminine wisdom that women whoever consider herself as a woman can use, and there's different wisdom. It's like an endless source of library that is out there that we can really use. And I believe that the insight that we get from our inner wisdom combined with the collective wisdom, that's what we need really to expand into the best person and the best professional that we can be.
You're using the word expand. That's my favorite word. Because I took the word change out of my life and I use expand. But what I'm really hearing you say, but it really comes down to people listening to themselves, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. Because, our internal guidance system is ready to give us guidance, but are we listening? Are we listening? And if we are not aware, if we don't know that our soul has this quality to listen from within, then, and I'll share something with you actually, Robert, that when I was I was thinking about, getting interviewed by you, and I wasn't sure. I listened to some of your podcasts and some of your interviews, and then my first reaction was, I don't know. There are some things that Robert says that I don't know if I can really relate with. For example, like when you say, I took out some words from my vocabulary, like heal or change or transform or forgiveness. So my first reaction was, I don't know if Robert and I are a good match. But then when I listened to my personal guidance system, I connected to my soul and my intuition. I got a clear message from within. Oh, yes, of course, go for it. Go for it. And now I see that we are more connected than my mind told me earlier that we are.
And the thing I've really opened up to on forgiveness, appreciation. If you can appreciate yourself, you rise above it, and then everything kind of goes away. But see, I got to explain. I'm a union electrician. Transformation means something different to me because we bring it in 500,000 volts, step it down to 12,400 to 480, 277. But when we turn the system on, we energize.
Okay. So yes, that's a good point, because maybe your definition or your approach to transformation is different than mine, as well as forgiveness. And that's maybe a good lesson, for ourselves to expand, because you talk more about also forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and how appreciation can help you with that. For me, when I think about forgiveness, I have clients that they truly liberated when they were able to forgive, for example, an abusive parent who abused in their childhood. And for that, I many times say, at least have compassion for this parent, but the free liberation really comes with forgiveness. But I'm talking about forgiveness to forgiving somebody else. You're talking about forgiving yourself versus appreciating.
And then appreciate the experience, because when you appreciate it, it's like the value of a house. You appreciate yourself. It gives you value, but it gives you courage and audacity to basically go through it. And you can, once you have the appreciation, you can forgive them easy because they don't matter anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
it's just another version is all it is.
Right. Exactly. It's another version, but I'm glad I listened to my internal guidance system, and the message was, no, you talk to Robert. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fun. And then I see that we are really aligned.
Basically, different words, same way.
Yeah, exactly. And,
yeah. But there's something I really, really, really want you to talk about here. Integrating soulful spirituality into your therapeutic practice.
Yeah. And right. So, yeah,
it's one of your book.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the 6 keys that I present in my books. One of the keys is spirituality. Spirituality, as the way I see it, is a connection with something bigger than us. And because many people connect spirituality with religious, and it doesn't have to be, I believe in a spiritual, like maintaining a spiritual practice, which doesn't have to be a religious practice. It can, but it doesn't have to be. So a non-religious spirituality is something that every professional, every therapist really needs to consider integrating with the practice, because when we rely only on our personal power, it can get so burdening and heavy. But when we rely on our personal power, and in addition, we rely on a power that is greater than ourselves, then it opens up a whole thing, and then we can really anchor ourselves, and it's not just the responsibility on us. So I believe in creating a partnership, not only as a professional, but as a person, as a human being, creating a partnership between you running the show, but you're allowing a power greater than yourself to also run the show with you. So it's a partnership. And then that's the right way to live.
You couldn't have said that any finer, because all spirit's flowing energy.
Yeah.
You know, something I've opened up to is the intuition, imagination, all that is a flowing energy within us.
Yes.
And it's going to rise you out of your thinking memory mind.
Right.
And what you just said, if people were listening, they get to rise out of themselves.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
see, that's when I saw your website, I got very intrigued on a lot. So when
Right.
people buy your book in the summer, what will you feel that will expand them and give them a path to their soulful living?
Right. It's really just journeying through the pages of the book. You know, as you read the book, doing the exercises, the guided visualization, understanding the concept, it takes you on a journey that naturally you connect to your soul. And I know we need to wrap up now.
No, I was saying something else when you said naturally. That's what
Naturally.
people are afraid of, their own
Yeah,
natural talents. And what you said
exactly.
there, you said it so authentically beautiful. It just give me goosebumps.
Thank you. But I do know that we have to
But
wrap
you
up
fit.
because we're at the interview.
What if we run over? What are they going to do? Sue us?
No, but I have another interview, so I want to be there on time.
Oh, okay. Anyway, give them what you want them to take away, but I want to give them beaconsofchange.com is the website for this talented, wise lady.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, beaconsofchange.com. And if you're listening to this after August 6, 2024, then my book is already on Amazon, Becoming Soulful, Michal Spiegelman. And thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you. And you guys got a lot of soulful wisdom to live by Michal Spiegelman.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. Where
You.
did that little record button?